Right, the other day we looked at plotting straight line graphs. When we were plotting straight line graphs, we said that all straight line graphs take the following form, which is y equals mx plus c, where the m refers to the gradient, how steep the line is, and the c is the y-intercept, where the graph crosses the y-axis. So, today what we're going to look at is you're going to look at finding the equations of a straight line graph. So to do this, on each graph we've got to find the two things. We've got to find the gradient and we've got to find the y-intercept. So remember, the gradient is how steep the line, which means for every one across in the x direction, how many do you go up or down. Remember, if you go up, it's a positive gradient. If you go down, it's a negative gradient. And we also need to find the y-intercept. So we start off on this easy one. What we need to do is we need to find 2 points where our graph crosses a proper coordinate point. So picking this point here wouldn't be much good, as it's going to be a half 3, which makes it a little bit more complicated. It's much easier to pick one where you go from a proper coordinate, so this one here is -2, -2, and the next time you get a proper coordinate is there, -1, 0. That's a sensible one to pick. Or between 0, 2 and 1, 4, because they're both proper coordinates. So, I'm going to pick this one here. So, I'm just going to draw a little triangle to help. So, if we go across one square, how many do go up? 1, 2. So the gradient for this line here has got a gradient of 2, so it's m is equal to 2. Now remember, the c is the y-intercept, where our line crosses the y-axis, which is this point here. And the value here is +2. So the gradient, this y-intercept is +2. So our equation for this line here is y equals 2x plus 2. Right, the next one. Okay, so remember this is also going to take the form y equals mx plus c. So, firstly let's find the gradient. So remember, we want to find 2 points where we get sensible coordinates. Now if you look at this one, if we go across one square, you don't go up a full square. Same here. You go across one, you don't go up a full square. So on this one, you might want to look at how many it does take to get across to go up a full one. So if you do that, you'll find you have to go across 2 squares and up 1. So what do you think that might mean the gradient is? You're going across 2, up 1. So yeah, the gradient is a half, because for every 2 across you go 1 up, or for every 1 across you go half up. So the gradient is a half. The y-intercept, so where does our line cross the y-axis? Well, it's this point here. It's not +3 this time, it is -3. So the equation for this straight line graph is y equals a half x minus 3. And the final one, this one here, so let's do it again. You'll notice this time that it's going downhill rather than uphill like all the other ones. So this means we're going to be looking at a negative gradient this time. So if we pick a point, let's take this point here to that point there. So you go across 1. This time you go down so many squares, and that's why we know it's a negative gradient. We go down 1, 2, 3. So that makes it a gradient of -3. And the y-intercept is at that point there, which is +1. So the equation of the straight line here is y equals -3x plus 1. Now, for some of you, you may have a pair of coordinates today where you want to find the equation of the gradient of a straight line. And the gradient the equation for finding the gradient is the change in y divided by the change in x. So, if we had two coordinates, here we go, 1, 3, and 3, let's go for 9. So, to find the gradient for these coordinates here, we have to firstly find a change in y. So, change in y. Now remember, it's the 3 and the 9 which represent the y coordinate. So we're going to do 9 minus 3, which is equal to 6. And we're going to have to do the change in x, which is equal to, we've got to do it exactly the same way around. So we did 9 minus 3 last time, so we've got to do 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. So now finally, to find the gradient, we've got to do gradient is equal to our change in y, which was 6, divided by our change in x, which was 2, which gives us a gradient equal to 3. Okay, so most of you today will be finding the equation of a straight line using the equation y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the y-intercept. Remember, the gradient's for everyone across, how many to go up or down, and the c is the y-intercept.